from those travels and interchangeable formats, and I can really witness that they are something of this format is very valuable in educational sense. And for example, there was last year the festival of new media, or probably it is called Festival of Media Art or Media and Art Enter in Chile, which is fourth city of Lithuania, but also like as big as Mons, I think. Probably a little bit bigger, but they have this very strong festival of media art. And last year there was a sound art exhibition which was created by Tautvydas, who is actually lecturing in Vilnius Art Academy, has sound art courses, and lots of students were taking part in migrating reality projects. So I think this broad view always is something that really inspires. And in Nida, Art Colony also got this impression of how to say that those temporary nomadic travels somewhere abroad and the creating of very temporary communities make sense in a way that they create atmosphere for something really interesting to happen. And I decided somehow today to be quite continuous in a way that I proposed. The first proposal was of this presentation was to give a bit of performative talk, but this performative talk I also do not treat as an ego trip as we use here this word, but more like an embodiment of situation in which all of us, I think, more or less are. That we are in those independent actions and independent and intertwined movements, which are very nomadic, sporadic, network-based, and so on. We are always dealing with lots of interests and perform ourselves in various fields of interest and in a way creation. And in the database of this project there was this sort of space for naming your interests, and later it was arranged into alphabetical order, and that's how this notebook piece was born. This is sort of, now I use it of course in a bit playful way as a fragmented stating of what my interests are, and this is I think T.R.A.C.E.S and Tautvydas Bajarkevicius who say that the identity is usually described by negating, not by in a negative way, not in a positive way. So that is what I am, is more what I am not. But in this way, when you put it in fragmentary alphabetical order, there appears lots of gaps and intertextualities, and which are always which are always kind of flexible. And so in this way, this identity which is stated is not strictly stated at one point, but you are always in certain flux. So you state some points of reference, but also leave some gaps that are always appear in their intertextual connection. But it's sort of theoretical approach to that. And back a little bit to my Sonic project, Tautvydas, and to more, let's see, for that I'm speaking, I was always interested into sound art stream in Lithuania, and was an active participant in the movement since 2002, I think, and was also organizing a festival of sound art, which was called the Sound Zone, and it grew in 2006, international one, international level. We invited Transcultural, who is quite famous little weekly writer from home. It's a very worldwide acknowledged weekly review issue all over the world in experimental music and sound art scene. And we also invited Transcultures, who is known from Vienna, who's quite known as also Raster Motten, the collaborator of Raster Motten labor, and also active in analog scene. And also we tried to somehow always accumulate this sound art events, sound art scene, which is somehow evolved in Lithuania. And I think the festival was a sort of fragmentary, also very nomadic move of these efforts to accumulate some more active movement, but still in Lithuania there is no any institution, even independent one, that could represent so-called media art or experimental music art or sound art. So that's quite a problematic situation. But from the other side, it also drives you into some other areas. And for example, me myself, I noticed that I became somehow interested more and more into visual arts as I started to work in the field of visual arts, and lots of ways of theorizing became somehow actual also in the field of sound, because pure sound and pure approach to the sound as it is, of course, still remained as one of the interests, but it was not something like it was not enough, and just one of the first encounters of those more flexible sound art experiences was reapproaching media at the collective workshop in Vilnius in 2004, where I'm not Jovi also. And I want to play one example, just also probably just which could which could also present a little bit Audio Z aesthetics as a solo project, as a music project, but because it's quite cinematic and also based on various poetic and narrative relations. And there, after I met Jody there in the Reapproaching Media project, I found out about her project Singing Bridges, which connects all the hanging bridges all around the world, and also contributed to her double CD of remix of those bridges. So this was quite inspiring. Also later participating in radio events, which were radio workshop, experimental radio, and experimental sound art, which happened in Pixel Age festival. It was particle wave workshop, and the other one was cuts, clicks, and critical noises during the Alanto festival, also in Helsinki. It was also visual arts and experimental music-based workshop, but that one was more for, how to say, elder students, and the particle wave was already for experienced practicing radio artists. So, for example, some of the pieces are Sofia Lerner, who was one of the main persons behind the workshop of particle wave. She was later somehow through some network, I don't know, just mailing list or something, found out that she was doing some also radio workshop in, I think in Australia, but I'm not too sure. And it was just a microphone standing over there. You could hear just, it was like constant broadcasting, but there was some moments when there was just a microphone left in somewhere in the room. And you just record this broadcast, live broadcast, and then make it into some musical form. So this short present, also it presents a way of sort of treating the musicality. Usually pick up some live event or some cinematic situation and later electroacoustic waves make it a musical piece. The piece is called Voice over Silk Screen. Just to cut a long story short, it's just the usage of samples and of real voices and just making them sort of a cinematic collage of them. And the strategy of releasing of those pieces for me is until now is based on open source, on net labels, network, online platforms for putting your music freely. And I've released some pieces on Zero Moon in USA, in Chronica podcast, which is Chronica is a very interesting label from Portugal, Porto, and also some other places, for example, in Art News portal, which is actually more devoted for art critique, into which I write sometimes, but also they have this Artcast, like a sort of art-related podcast, which is also integrates various forms of sound, image, and written text. So this is how also, I don't want to go too much into topic of intertextuality, which very interests me now at the moment, and which is more or less goes further from this sound topic, but it is very important for me in structuring the narrative, because musical performance, for example, I really like this immersive, almost acousmatic sound when you listen in the darkness, but also really like some kind of narrative approach to it, abstract narrative approach. And this is usually made without giving a certain clear message of how one should interpret one on another piece, but just giving notes and hypertextual links of proper associations. And there were lots of theoreticians who were talking about this, and specifically about music. There is a very interesting theoretician, Tautvydas Bajarkevicius, who is was actually is very famous for his book More Brilliant Than the Sun, and he is actually one of the speculative theorists, as he called speculative theories, a way of thinking without some kind of urge to bring some very clear hypothesis, but more to bring a rhizomatic map of ideas, and so that they could work as inspiring impulses. So Tautvydas was theorizing the black music, black hip-hop music, and later he went into various genres of music and Britpop, and really he's into pop culture, but bringing it into perspective of cultural theory. So he was speaking, for example, about the significance of single, like one word titles in hip hop albums. I'm finishing already. And so it's and for example, Ben Frost, by his one of the latest releases by the Pro, in one of the interview, probably you know Ben Frost is Icelandic sound artist who is already on the edge of being into some kind of this advanced pop culture. But he was talking also about those fragmentary notions that you just name something, but also leave a gap in between the names. And this was realized, for example, in Middle Colony, in our last Cornelius Andrew, as I said, inspired inspiration performance, when we give a personal card to everyone in the audience with and on the right, on the left upper corner, there was a name of the piece, title of the piece, and on the right bottom there was a dedication to some historical personality, for example, Roman Bath or T.R.A.C.E.S. Historical, it means that probably he or she could be still alive, for example. But it's like from psychoanalysis, philosophy, theory, art, I don't know, media art, visual art, cinematography, and it's very interesting for me that everyone gets a very personalized, personified card for himself as an instruction of reading the work. And in this case, it is also a certain object which you get, and also the widespread interpretations of the piece, and also like a little bit of horoscope of the evening. So we're not treating it very seriously also. But yeah, and just like this, just would like to come into some kind of searches of ways of how sound art could be theorized, because I was during some like long practice of critique and writing text about sound and also reading. I always was approaching this, I don't know, obstacle probably, that everything ends up finally into formal analysis or something very, I don't know, really formally described. And that's how I somehow found some inspirations in theoretical analysis of voice, but, which is not because they are theoretical, they are interesting to me, it's because they are really speaking about things. And for example, in the mentioned festival Enter in Chile Media Festival, they had a conference where it was interesting for me to give a talk about gender issues and sound art, and in particular voice, feminine voice and sound art. And as I was reading at that time detected by psychoanalytic theorist Julia Kristeva, called Possessions. She is a theoretician, but it was her literary work, which is very, and detected on psychoanalysis, it's something really, let's say, mathematic and immersive, because you have all the detective lines and those traces of some event or I don't know situation, analyzed also through archetypes, psychoanalytic ways of seeing it, and you can feel that Christo is really free from theoretical perspectives without academic texts. She can just put her ideas in literary form. And there she is talking about quite a lot about voice. I won't go into details, but it was interesting to compare, for example, how Kristeva treats absence of voice, absence of silence in Caravaggio ballets, and also to make some parallels with what Zizek talks about voice and as something that possesses, as a possessive power in famous documentary film T.R.A.C.E.S Cinema, which was directed by Sofia Fines, and he was like a main theoretician who was always like set in a setup of cinematic scenes and expressing his ideas of psychoanalysis in those scenes. So he was analyzing Mulholland Drive and exorcism in this perspective of possessed voice, and some also interesting examples of sonic works that I find really transgressive in a way of and really interesting from a psychoanalytic point of view, is this transpersed possessive power of voice is for example Maja Ratke, Norwegian artist who was very famous for her usage of her voice and also electronics, and just an excerpt. Of music which is using this algorithm is quite technological word, but this kind of practice, and in this album there are more examples of this granulated voice, when you have a voice and later just disperses in stereo quality, stereo waves through the speakers. So it's like, when you're listening, for example, with headphones, you have really something, a feeling which is very immersive. And as just a last point of that, one of my favorite artists, with very interdisciplinary one, Sim von Hausberg, Karl von Hausberg from Sweden, and just a short piece of how he treats male voice, and with a narratory story in his caloric conversation. Caloric is something like also something like that. And yeah, so just not to be too, how to say, too straightforward. Probably, of course, there are various perspectives of listening, but in this case, just shows this gender-based point of view of writing about sound. So, and some, I don't know, some kind of really tangible and almost physical qualities of male and female voices and narratives that are under them.
Sometimes it's even amusing when you're hosting maggots. The transformal contact, the imagined love, the reality of not being alone. Breeze felt them all the time inside his body, squirming and regrouping, partying on his belongings. By the time it starts to get uncomfortable, you get worn out. It's like hosting a leech. After a while they suck you dry. There's no blood left to nourish them, or you. With the maggots, it's a bit different. Not only do they live on your visual physicalities, they also go.
This actually is 13 minutes long, so if we would like to listen, we had to listen for 30 minutes. Just to tell it shortly, it's like that, all those 30 minutes. And narrative is like this lyrical person, how to say, the I who is speaking is performing a ritual, going to Cairo and finding a secret secret esoteric knowledge based community which learns some kind of ritual of swallowing some kind of living substance, which it's connected with also cobra poisons, and just embodying this kind of wild energy. So yeah, and all the album is all the rest of the album is quite harsh noise, noise with this analog sound. Yeah, so just a point of reference. Yesterday there was a very good performance in this terrarium of awakening, some kind of something really how to say, from this hidden level of consciousness to speak on psychedelic. So yeah, I just wanted to perform this wide possible scenarios of being in those interdependent or independent zones and how you sort of